This is the first and only mystery book narrated by Mallory. She's not good enough to write more than one book in this series. Poor Mallory.
Argo Funk Book Review. Argo Funk Book Review.
This book was written by Ellen Miles. Dad's Uncle Joe is coming to live with the Pikes for a while. Over the course of 2 chapters, the kids enthusiastically help prepare the house. As usual, they are so wild and energetic that they completely overshadow Mallory. Also, Mallory mentions that she and Jesse sometimes pretend to be horses. I would love to see one of their horse playtimes in a future book. It would be hilarious. Mallory babysits a new family called the Craines. Their regular babysitter broke her leg in a motorcycle accident.
I'd never met a woman who rode a motorcycle before. She'd probably be wearing a leather jacket. What if she offered me a beer? I wonder if she had any tattoos.
I saw a Babysitters Club wiki which says this scene inspired a lot of hilarious stories where Mallory has beer and drunk dials her friends. You know she would do that. The only question is, would drunk Mallory cuss out the babysitters or hit on them? The Crane girls are nice, and they act closer to their ages than most kids in this series do. After the girls go to sleep, Mallory thinks she hears a cat. She looks all around, but she can't find it. The kids think she's crazy, but next time, they hear the cat too. They find the cat in the attic, and they decide to call it Ghost Cat. It got in through a giant hole in the roof, which the parents don't bother to repair at any point. Uncle Joe arrives at the house. He doesn't talk much, he dislikes it when Claire gets dirt on his hands, and he hides in his room until it's time for dinner. The Pike kids have no idea what to make of him. Claudia is the Babysitters Club expert on old people. Oh, is that what she's known for? She meets Uncle Joe. She gets dirt on his hands and he mumbles to himself. Claudia is so angry, she can't help but blurt out that he's a mean old man. Well, yeah, this isn't the first time Claudia has instantly hated someone for a dumb reason, but she specifically requested this job so she could meet Uncle Joe. Why is she being such a jerk about it? Later on in the chapter, Claudia lectures the Pike kids on how they need to be compassionate and patient with Uncle Joe because older people need time to adjust to new situations. Good advice, Claudia. Why didn't you follow it yourself? Ghost Cat gets lost for a bit. Mallory searches for him in the attic, and she finds some old letters. The house's former owner was a lonely old man who had a white cat. Just like Ghost Cat! What if Ghost Cat is a ghost cat? Ah! Well, I'd say they picked the right name for him. Then we get a serious chapter, where Uncle Joe starts having problems. He hoards things like thread and paper. He wanders around by himself. He forgets what he's doing and what time it is. And in the middle of a conversation with Dad, he stops and says he has no idea who Dad is. Dad explains that Uncle Joe has Alzheimer's, and they need to take him to a nursing home. If Claudia is the old person expert, Dawn is the ghost expert. She does a series of tests on Ghost Cat. He shows up on film, he leaves footprints, you can't stick your hand through him, and he doesn't give off the coldness of death. It's official! Ghost Cat is not a ghost! Dawn also uses a $5 comic book ghost detector on the cat. Is that what Dawn spends her babysitting money on? Jesse and Mallory talk about why it's a bad idea to make quick judgments about other people. Take note, Claudia! And the Pikes finally realize that it's overwhelming when all 10 of them crowd around Uncle Joe at the same time. They visit him in groups of 1 to 2 people, and he does much better with them. They all become friends and visit him at the nursing home. Ghost Cat's owner comes to pick him up, and the owner looks just like the man who used to own the house. What if he and the cat were ghosts the entire time? Oh no! Mallory says this is one mystery that won't get solved. And that annoys me, because we know the cat isn't a ghost. There was a whole chapter where Dawn proved the cat wasn't a ghost. You can't do that and pretend the cat is still a ghost for the sake of a spooky ending. Anyway, the Cranes get a new cat, their beer-drinking babysitter comes back, and that's probably the last we'll see of them. The end. Post-book follow-up. I think it is pushing it to call this a mystery book. It's more like a ghost story book, only I don't find it scary when Mallory hears meowing, but she doesn't see the cat anywhere. That's not scary. It's obvious the cat is just hiding behind something, Mallory. Try looking harder instead of assuming, oh no, it's a ghost cat, oh, it's scary. The mystery might be bad, but the book is good. The Craines are interesting characters, and the Uncle Joe storyline was well done. Even if he didn't develop Alzheimer's halfway through, it still would have been an interesting story about the Pikes adjusting to a new relative, so good job on that. The book also cuts back on the recap. Instead of 2 recap chapters, we get 1. In place of the second recap chapter, there's a random babysitting job where Christy babysits the Cormans. Melody pretends to be a cat, which annoys Karen. This was strange and had nothing to do with anything, but it was still better than hearing about the various club members' jobs for the 40th time. Overall, it's a good book, which is weighed down by a dull mystery that goes nowhere. I think it would have been better combined with a different Mallory plotline, and if it was released as one of the main books in the series. I give Babysitter's Club Mystery number 3, Mallory and the Ghost Cat, a 4 out of 10.